Hey everyone, it's me, Miss Billman, and this is the Unit 2, Lesson 6 homework. Woo-woo! Today we're working with trapezoids. So when I have a trapezoid, things I can do. I can cut it into a rectangle or a square and some triangles, or I can follow a formula. Either way, it's good practice to get in the habit of using a formula, and it's also good practice to use cutting these shapes apart. So if I were to look at number 1. Now, I could cut this into not quite a square, but I could cut it into a rectangle and a triangle and find the area, or I can use the formula of base 1 plus base 2. I add those together, I divide by 2, and I multiply by the height. So, the cool part about a trapezoid is that the top and the bottom, they're always going to be parallel, so they will never they'll never touch. So I don't need to think about, well, what if they come to a point? Well, they won't. So I need to find the sum of 7 and 9, which is 16. 16 divided by 2, and then I'm going to multiply that quotient by 6, because that's the height. So 16 divided by 2 is 8, and I multiply that by 6, and I get an answer of 48 yards squared. I am going to square it because it is finding the area. Number 2, I have a base 1 of 11 and base 2 of 15 and a height of 4. Notice I'm labeling things on my paper. This is important to do. If I'm just going to try and do it in my head, I'm leaving a lot up to chance. So 11 plus 5 divided by 2, and then we're going to multiply by 4. So 26 divided by 2, multiply by 4. And I'm writing out every single step. The quotient of 26 and 2, that's 13. 13 multiplied by 4 is equal to 52 feet squared. Number 3, kind of a weird looking trapezoid, but I think all trapezoids need to be appreciated. So base 1 of 2 inches, base 2 of 10 inches, and a height of 6 inches. So I find the sum of 2 and 10. I divide it by 2, and I multiply by the height of 6. So 12 divided by 2, multiply by 6. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 multiplied by 6 is 36. So I get an answer of 36 inches squared. Remember to label. If you do not label it, it's going to be really difficult to earn your full points. Number 4. Now these are some big numbers. So we have a base 1 and a base 2, and I could label them either way. They're both bases, and with addition, I could go 19 plus 15 or 15 plus 19 and still get the same answer. So the sum of 15 and 19 divided by 2, I'm going to take that quotient, and I will multiply by 20. So 19 plus 15 is 34. I divide that by 2, multiply by 20. 34 divided by 2 is 17. Because that's what number 17 multiplied by 2 gives me 34. I'm going to take 17 and multiply by 20. Now I do know because this ends in a 0, I can multiply my 2 by my 17. So that will give me 34, and I'm going to add a 0 because it's 20. And I get an answer of 340 centimeters squared. Number 5, this is a very flat trapezoid. 17 plus 21 divided by 2, and then we're going to take that quotient and multiply by 2. So 17 plus 21 is 38, and I need to then do 38 divided by 2 and multiply by 2. Now, when I'm dividing by 2 and then multiplying by 2, it's basically canceling itself out. I will still get the same answer of 38 because dividing by 2 and multiplying by 2 are complete opposites. Crazy, right? So I still get an answer of 38 meters squared. Number 6, I have a base 1 and a base 2 of 7 and 1 and a height of 8. So I would do 1 plus 7 divided by 2 and then multiplied by 8. 8 is my height, so I will multiply by that. So I have 8 divided by 2 multiplied by 8, which is 4 multiplied by 8, and I get an answer of 32 km squared. Now we're down to the word problems. A playground is in the shape of an isosceles trapezoid. So it's just like an isosceles triangle where two of the sides, they're similar. So that isosceles triangle, the top base is 10 feet. The bottom base is 42 feet. The height is 12 feet. A slanted side is 20. What is the distance around the playground? Well, I'm going to draw this out just for my brain. I like to have a model. So I know my top base is 10 and my bottom base is 42. That's a huge difference. And this is clearly not to scale, but I'm still using the same numbers. And my height is 12. Now, this is an isosceles trapezoid, so my two sides are the same, just like an isosceles triangle, and they're both 20. Now, I'm going back to that question of what is it really asking me? What is the distance around the playground? Well, that sounds pretty darn similar to looking out for perimeter. Now, in perimeter, do I need the height? No, I do not need the height. Oddly enough, they just threw it in there for me to have to decipher. So I'm going to add the distance all the way around. 10, 20, 20, and 42. I have 20 plus 20 is 40 plus 10 is 50. 50 plus 42 is 92 feet. I didn't even need the height, but because I'm attending to precision and I'm being a mathematician on a mission, I'm not going to be fooled by that. One part of the roof of a house is the form of an isosceles trapezoid. The bottom base is 28 feet long. The top base is 6 feet long, and the height is 16 feet. What is the area of this portion of the roof? I'm going to draw it. I always have a model, especially with geometry. It's going to be easier for me to visualize it and attend to precision. So my height is 16. I'm going to add 28 and 6. So the sum of 28 and 6, because I will be doing base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 and multiplied by height. So I have 28 plus 6, which is equal to 34. I'm going to divide that by 2. And I like to write every step out because then I can go back if I'm, getting my quiz graded or my test graded, and I can see where, if I had a misstep, where it actually was. So 34 divided by 2 multiplied by 16. So that quotient of 34 and 2 is 17. Now I need to find the product of 17 and 16. I like to layer mine, one on top of the other. 7 multiplied by 6 is 42, carry the 4. 6 multiplied by 1 is 6 plus 4 is 10. Put my 0 down. 1 multiplied by 7 is 7, and 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. I'm going to add that together. I get an answer of 272 feet squared. Number 9. A placemat is in the form of an isosceles trapezoid. One base of the trapezoid is 17 inches long. The other base is 13 inches long. The height is 12 inches. What is the area of the placemat? Again, I'm building a model. I'm going to label it to make sure I'm following through with the correct numbers. So I add my top base and my bottom base together. I need to find the sum of 17 and 13 because it is base 1 plus base 2. Divide that by 2 and multiply by the height. So 17 plus 13 divided by 2 multiplied by 12. 17 plus 13 is 30. I divide that by 2 and I multiply by 12. If I cut 30 in half, which is dividing by 2, or by 12 for the height. So it's 15 multiplied by 12, and I can multiply this out. 2 multiplied by 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 multiplied by 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Once I add everything together, I get a total of 180. Now I'm going to make sure I put inches, and I'm going to do inches squared. Remember to attend to precision and give it your all because you can do this.